Thinking about moving to Kansas City, Missouri, but you want to know everything that's going on in KC before you actually make that decision, then you have come to the right place, because that's what we're going to be discussing in today's video. We are going to talk about the good, the bad, the pros, the cons, the yin, the yang, so that you can decide if Kansas City is a great fit for you. So with that said, let's talk about the pros and the cons of Kansas City. If this is your first time on this channel and you want to know everything about living in Kansas City, then subscribe below. Tap the bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know about the changes that are taking place in the Kansas City, Missouri real estate market. My name is Chris Pucci with the Living in Kansas City real estate team, and we get calls every day from people just like you. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 9 months, feel free to reach out, as all of our contact information is in the description box below, and we would be more than happy to help you make a smooth move to Kansas City, Missouri. Well, let's start off with Kansas City's greatest attribute, affordability. Now, the cost of buying or renting a home in Kansas City is significantly lower compared to other major metropolitan areas. Home prices are well below the national average, offering a good balance of price and space. This affordability is especially attractive to families and young professionals. The average home price in Kansas City, Missouri is around $295,000, making it one of the more affordable housing markets in the country. This means you can find spacious, well-maintained single-family homes at prices that won't break the bank. Many of these homes come with large yards, plenty of space, and charming neighborhoods with tree-lined streets. Now, on the Kansas side, particularly in the suburbs like Overland Park and Leawood, the average home price is around $450,000. Now, while this side of the metro area is known for its upscale neighborhoods and larger homes, it is still incredibly affordable when you compare it to similar desirable suburbs in other U.S. major cities. Here, you can find luxury homes with top-of-the-line amenities, expansive yards, and access to some of the best schools in the region, all while maintaining affordability relative to other cities with similar perks. So for instance, a home that might cost over $1 million in a coastal city could be priced significantly lower here without sacrificing quality or neighborhood or amenities. This means Kansas City and its surrounding suburbs are a great place for those looking to find a home fitting their budget. Now, furthermore, Kansas City's property taxes are moderate when you compare those to cities on the east and west coast, making the home ownership even more affordable over the long term. In addition, housing expenses such as groceries, utilities, and healthcare are more affordable. In fact, the overall cost of living in Kansas City is roughly 8% below the national average, which allows residents here to stretch their incomes further. Because Kansas City spans some 7,950 square miles, it is the 15th largest city in the U.S. This abundance of land means that the cost of land here is lower than similar U.S. cities, which helps keep home prices and rental rates lower. So these are just some of the factors which makes Kansas City a highly attractive destination to buy a home and raise a family. When it comes to the arts, Kansas City may not be the first city that springs to mind. However, it does boast a remarkably diverse and vibrant community that deserves recognition. So if you are into the performing arts, Kansas City boasts the Kaufman Center for Performing Arts. It is a state-of-the-art venue that hosts concerts, ballet, opera, and theater. If exploring museums is your thing, Kansas City has over 85 museums offering a wide range of interests focusing on art, history, science, and culture. The most notable museum is the Nelson Atkins Museum. The Nelson Atkins Museum of Art is recognized nationally and internationally. Its art collection spans 5,000 years of history, featuring art from every continent, including the largest Asian art collection in the Western world. You will find paintings from artists such as Rembrandt, Monet, and Van Gogh, as well as American artists such as Thomas Hart Benton and Georgia O'Keeffe. Also, there is a 22-acre outdoor sculpture garden featuring around 36 sculptures. Other notable museums include the National World War I Museum. It's the official U.S. museum dedicated to World War I. Then there's the American Jazz Museum and the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, which, by the way, those three museums are all within walking distance of one another. On the other hand, if you enjoy perusing art galleries and studios, then you need to check out the Crossroads. The Crossroads is home to over 100 art studios and galleries. In fact, the Crossroads has the highest concentration of galleries and studios in the nation. On the first Friday, though, of every month, the Crossroads comes alive as the galleries open up for free, featuring new art exhibits. There are food trucks, music, and other activities, making this a hot spot every first Friday. But Kansas City also celebrates its arts through various festivals, such as the Plaza Art Fair, the Brookside Art Fair, and of course the previously mentioned First Fridays. So, if arts and culture are important to you, you will be well served by the offerings that Kansas City has to offer. So let's look at another strength of Kansas City, and that's the traffic and the infrastructure. Despite being one of the largest cities in the U.S. with regards to land, I said Kansas City spans 7,950 square miles, making it the 15th largest city in the U.S. Getting around Kansas City is easy due to its incredible infrastructure. Kansas City is serviced by 3 interstates, 29, 35, and 70. All of which converge in downtown Kansas City. And then there is the I-435 loop, which services the Kansas City metropolitan area, as well as I-470, which services the southeastern area. This makes Kansas City really easy to maneuver in, particularly during rush hour. In May of 2016, Kansas City introduced its streetcar ride, which you can ride for free. Currently, it runs 2.2 miles from the River Market, which is north of downtown, along Main Street through the heart of downtown to the Union Station, which is just south of downtown. Currently, the streetcar, though, is being expanded another 2.5 miles south to the Country Club Plaza. And when the streetcar is fully completed, it will total 10.2 miles connecting various neighborhoods and shopping areas. As the city's population increases, lifetime Kansas Cities complain about the traffic. But if you ask those coming in from the coastal cities like LA, New York, and even cities like Chicago or Dallas, they can't believe how little traffic there is. Like I said, not only can you get to almost anywhere in Kansas City in 20 or so minutes, but you can do so without having to drive in bumper-to-bumper traffic. Another benefit or a pro is community. Another good thing about Kansas City are its residents. The people in Kansas City are friendly, warm, and welcoming. It's easy to start a conversation up with a complete stranger. I cannot tell you how many times my wife and I will be out doing something, and next thing I know, she's in this conversation with what looks like to be an old friend, and when I ask her who she was talking to, she'll say, "I don't know. We just started talking." It's this genuine openness and caring about their neighbors that truly makes Kansas City a special place to call home. Our next topic is a pro, but depending on what side of the state line you live on, it could be considered a con. So I'm talking about the schools. You got to keep in mind now, Kansas City is situated in 2 states, half in Missouri, half in Kansas. And depending on where you choose to live, it makes a difference, particularly when it comes to schools. The schools on the Kansas side, located in Johnson County, boast some of the best school districts in the region. All 3 school districts, Shawnee Mission School District, Blue Valley School District, and the Olathe School District, are rated A+ by Niche.com. Schools in Johnson County typically excel in standardized test scores and academic achievement, with graduation rates often above the state average. Schools on the Missouri side are somewhat of a mixed bag. The Kansas City public schools do not enjoy the same reputation as the Johnson County schools or the Missouri suburbs, such as Lee Summit or Liberty. Both the Liberty and Lee Summit school districts are rated A+ by Niche.com. So if you don't have kids or your kids are in college, then this might be a non-issue. If you do have school-age children and you want to buy a home in Kansas City, private schools are a viable option. So across both sides of the state line, there are a number, though, of private schools with excellent academic reputation. So regardless where you buy a home, you will always have access to some of the best school districts in their respective states. So now that we have highlighted all the great things that make Kansas City such a wonderful place to live, we do, however, need to focus on some of the areas that aren't so favorable. Let's talk about everyone's favorite, the weather. Not everyone finds Kansas City weather disagreeable. After all, the weather overall is mild, and we get treated to 4 distinct seasons. Spring and fall, as expected, are the 2 favorite seasons. During the spring and fall, temperatures in the morning are typically in the 50s, but by early afternoon, they're hovering in the upper 60s, low 70s. So it's perfect weather. It's the summer and winter that get poor marks for those who are moving in from places like California, the Pacific Northwest, or of similar climates. It is true our summers can get hot, and some days, if we've had a lot of rain, it can get really humid and make it really uncomfortable. At the beginning of summer, temperatures in Kansas City range from the 80s to the low 90s. Once, however, we get to to mid-July, temperatures reach the mid to upper 90s, and we'll get a day or two sometimes over 100. But those days are rare, and we only get maybe 1 or 2 days at the most. I grew up here, so for me, I personally like the heat, even on those rare days when it hits 100 degrees. Now, the least liked season is winter. And most people, for whatever reason, think that once we hit December, the temperatures are going to be close to freezing and only get worse until spring arrives. The reality is, Kansas City really only has 6 weeks of really cold weather, which starts about mid-January and goes through the end of February, sometimes through the first week of March. Honestly, though, if the temperatures stay relatively constant, the sun is out and there's no wind, you won't even know it's cold. It's when the temperatures fluctuate or when it's overcast and windy that you notice that it's really cold. Now, we do get some snow and at times some sleet and ice, but it doesn't happen all that often, and when it does, it doesn't last that long. But I will concede, winter is my least favorite season. So I do want to share, though, an interesting observation having lived here all my life. The temperatures north of the Missouri River are cooler than the temperatures south of the river. Not only that, but they get more snow and inclement weather than we do. So if you're moving to Kansas City and you're hoping to avoid the cold as much as possible, then locating south of the river might be a point of emphasis. Again, some people would they put the weather in the negative column? To me, it's a positive. Oh, almost forgot. About the beginning of April through about the end of May is what we call our tornado season. Now, again, having lived here almost my entire life, I've never seen a tornado. But you will know when you've become a true Kansas Citian, when you hear that tornado siren go off, and instead of running to the basement, you're going to run outside with the rest of us to see if you can spot it. Another con is, some people might think, is lack of things to do. Now, true, we don't have oceans, we don't have beaches or mountains. And being landlocked, we are somewhat limited as to our outdoor activities. We do, however, have lakes, and there are plenty of hiking and biking trails throughout the metropolitan area. But true, it's not like hiking in the mountains, nor is it like swimming in the ocean or laying on the beach. But there's still lots of things that we can do. Johnson County, on the other hand, has had significantly lower violent crime rate compared to neighboring areas and many parts of the country. In summary, most neighborhoods in Kansas City are safe, and the neighborhoods in the suburbs on both sides of the state line are very safe. But here are some good websites that you can access to check out crime in any neighborhood. So a few of the reliable websites for checking crime are Neighborhood Scouts. It provides crime data at the neighborhood level, including crime maps and trends, along with comparisons to national averages. It's detailed, but often requires a subscription for full access. Another good site is City Data. It offers crime data for specific cities and neighborhoods. It breaks it down by various crime statistics, also includes information about population, demographics, housing, and schools. And then there is Spot Crime. This provides crime maps and email alerts showing incidents like theft, burglary, assault, and arson. It covers many cities and neighborhoods, and the data is sourced from police departments and news reports. Another one is called Area Vibes. This site offers livability score for neighborhoods, which includes a crime score, helping to evaluate safety based on available crime data. I want to leave this video on a positive note, so there's one more positive attribute I want to share, and that is Kansas City barbecue. If you like barbecue, then you are moving to the barbecue capital not only of the United States, but the world. We have over 100 barbecue restaurants and new ones opening all the time. We also host the largest barbecue competition in the world. It's called the American Royal Barbecue Competition. This event is so big, it's held in the infield grass of the Kansas Speedway and is open to 500 local, national, and international teams who compete over 3 days. This event, which is family-friendly, occurs usually in the last week of September or the first week of October. So even if you aren't a big fan of barbecue, this is an event you don't want to miss, even if you just go to inhale the aroma. That alone will make it worth it. So if you want to go to a restaurant, a barbecue restaurant, with some atmosphere, while you get to listen to live blues music, while you get to eat your favorite barbecue, then you're going to want to check out BB's Lawnside and Barbecue. That's my tip for you. All right, so here's a map of Kansas City. And as you can see, the airport is located up here in the far northwest corner of the city, but yet the majority of the residents live in this portion of the Kansas City metropolitan area. So if you're living in this area, for instance, you're going to take 435 on up to the airport. And that's at least a 40-minute drive, assuming there's no accidents and there's no inclement weather. But the city itself continues to move south, particularly Overland Park, Lenexa, and Olathe. So if you're in this area, which is an area that is which is experiencing a lot of growth, now you're probably looking at best case an hour's drive. It's even worse if you're over in this section of town, like Lee's Summit, for instance, Raymore. These are two subdivisions in Southeast Kansas City that are really exploding. And so you're going to try to get to the airport. Your best bet really is to take 470 over to 70 and then up 435 to the airport. And you're looking at easily an hour drive. So if you're only going to the airport occasionally because you're taking a trip out of town or a vacation, yes, it's an inconvenience and you can live with it. But if your job entails that you're traveling frequently and you're looking for a good area to live in, then you don't want to have to spend an hour or more to get to the airport, then one other area you might consider is Liberty, one of the faster growing suburbs in the Kansas City area. So unfortunately, the airport is located where it is, and the city is growing really in the opposite direction. So to me, I consider that to really be, at worst case, an inconvenience. Otherwise, yes, it's truly a negative. I hope you found this video helpful, and please leave a comment below, but please be nice. If you have any questions you want to learn more or just want to talk, shoot us a text, an email, or schedule a Zoom call. All of our information is below. So until then, we hope to show you around town. Thanks.